I suddenly thought of a Western, Shane.
I remember that.
Yeah. But besides the name, besides the similar name, your occupations are a little different. You're not an ex-gunslinger.
No, but what's interesting is the little boy, I think, in that movie almost expresses shame. He wants the gunslinger to come back.
Mm.
Somehow makes it his fault.
Interesting connection.
Yes.
Do you remember when they were eating chocolate ice cream?
No.
And a tiger in the movie too?
No.
No. That's because that's not the same movie. Not chocolate-covered tigers. Chocolate ice cream and tigers are not in Shane. So, subconscious mind, or shame. What would you say if you were to find out that you could do something different? That instead of doing what you've been doing, you could let go of that old way of being and do something more enjoyable, something more productive for Kenji?
I don't know what to say.
Well, just imagine that your needs get met, whatever those are. Your needs get met, you feel safe, Kenji feels safe, and you realize, and he realizes, that you are both more than enough without the old way of being, without that old crutch. Just imagine if all that was true, what would your life be like?
I think I'd be a little bored. I wouldn't have a role.
Mm.
I feel like it's like, it's my whole persona, my whole personality to be helping Kenji re-victimize himself and feel ashamed. It almost creates some energy, or of course it does, it creates the fear response. Which oddly makes us feel alive.
Well, let's add a little something to this. Imagine that you were to get energy, feel alive, without the crutch.
That'd be great.
So instead of feeling bored, you felt better than ever. Would you be open to making this change if all your needs were met, you felt safe, you were more than enough, and you could get more energy and that feeling of being alive? And instead of being bored, you were doing more interesting things.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm learning that there's a whole new language to speak.
Well, if you want, you could get Rosetta Stone.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rosetta Stone of speak a different language.
And there are also some language classes in this building, actually.
Yeah.
There's a business here called Enjoy Spanish, I think, which is an interesting business name. And there's an Italian place, and I think there's French. I mean, there are quite a few languages here.
So this would be the language of enjoy life.
Enjoy life, yeah. So just continue to breathe. Focus on your breathing. What do you think, Shame, it would take to let go of the old crutch? Do you think it's going to take a ton of work, a little bit of work, moderate amount of work? What do you think of that?
I think it's going to take a little bit of work. It's a new viewpoint. And I think I've just been afraid that Genji won't have meaning.
Mm. Well, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a ton of work. I think it'll be relatively little because, as you know, Kenji has done a lot of self-development work over the years, hasn't he?
Yes.
As he once told me, when he meets people that said, "Oh, I knew you X number of years ago," he would apologize to them and say, "I'm so sorry." Because he was a different guy back then.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah. And so because you've done so much self-development work over the years, I think that this particular issue with shame will be much smoother to resolve than so much else.
It is.
That's my sense. And if I'm wrong, I'll buy you chocolate ice cream.
Okay.
But if I'm right, I'll still buy you a chocolate ice cream. If you like chocolate. I don't know if you like chocolate.
I like chocolate and vanilla.
Oh, you could have one of each then.
All right.
But on 2 separate occasions.
You know,
Because I don't want to fill you up with too much sugar. So Shane, what do you think you need to do to let go of the old way of being and embrace something better? If you have a sense of it.
What do I think I need to do? I think, like learning a language, I need to learn this new way of being. I think I am learning. Because it's like a foreign country. I don't know the customs. And they're the customs of social interaction, of self-interaction. It's like learning anything new. As I pick up these tools, they become ones I'll reach for quicker and easier, as opposed to the other ones, which are just, they're just knee-jerk.
Yeah. Or knee elbow, whatever. And so Shane, you did an interesting thing when you were talking about that foreign country where you don't know the customs and you need to learn the customs. You're right, it is like a foreign country, but it'll be a little easier in a way than having to go to a foreign country because, number one, you don't have to pay for airfare.
No.
You don't need to get a passport, though you probably might already have a passport. And last but not least, you have all sorts of people in your life
Yeah.
that can help you with this. You don't have to do it all by yourself.
No. I don't know what I don't know. That's okay.
That's okay. You'll learn what you need.
I like the idea of taking a trip.
Yeah. So Shane, I've got a couple of ideas I want to run by you. I have a sense of which might be the way to go, but I want to get your take on it.
Okie doke.
And if you have a third option, that would be great as well. One of the ways that I've helped people with this particular issue is we have done a hypnosis technique in which we revisit the kid, talk to the little boy, and help that little boy to see that what he was experiencing and how he was learning wasn't really the best for him. And we were able to resolve it by going to the past. That's one option. You've done that quite a number of times with clients. The other option is to not do that step, but to do it from the present moment only and not visit the past. And both techniques work quite well. I just want to get your sense as to which one you would prefer, to go back to the past, talk to the little boy, or stay in the present focused moment.
We can go back to the past. There feels like there's two. There's a little boy and there's a teenage boy.
Okay. All right, we can visit them both if necessary.
Okay.
It's possible we'll only need to visit one of them.
Okay.
We don't know until we know. Or we won't know till we know. Just like, remember the first time I had pho, you know, the Vietnamese noodle dish?
Mm-hmm.
First time I had it, well, let me rephrase it. Before I had pho, I'd never had pho. And as my wife sometimes, not sometimes, but once said, it was hilarious. She came home after a little shopping, and she said something like this. She was really excited about a bargain she had just snagged. And she said, you know, I just saved whatever amount of money on this thing, and before it was on sale, it was regular price. And then I poked fun at her and said, well, of course, before it was on sale, it was regular price. And she said, you know what I mean. But I was able to kid her about that for a while. And you know what? Before you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
But after you know, you know.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of the movie Dr. No. Wasn't that a James Bond film?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't really like that film too much, but I did like Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. I thought that was a really good one.
That was a great movie.
Yeah. Now you might be wondering, why are we talking about James Bond? What does this have to do with you? Absolutely nothing. Nothing.
I like it.
In fact, nothing we're talking about has anything to do with you. It's just random talk right now.
That's okay.
But you know, it all has something to do with you. It all does. Even James Bond. I remember when, before Daniel Craig was chosen, they offered the role to me, but I said, you know what, I'm happy being a hypnotherapist. I don't think I'm going to be able to work on the movie. And they were begging me to be James Bond, but finally I said, you know what, guys, leave me alone. Daniel Craig, my buddy over there, he'd be good for you guys. And that's how he got the role. True story. Only Hollywood insiders know it, though.
I read an interview with him, and it was funny. He was so self-deprecating. It was really kind of good to see somebody so popular and attractive who has the same thoughts that so many of us have.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Every time I've hung out with him, he's always been that way. Always.
You're a hypnotherapist and a tall tale teller.
Short tale, actually. It's a quick one. So, we're going to go back to the past, visit with your younger self, and just have a little conversation, just like we're doing right now.
Okay.
So before we do that, is there anything you want to say, Shane, before we take that little journey?
Nope. Thank you.
You're welcome. And how do you feel about visiting your younger self?
I feel like I'm part of my younger self, so...
You are.
Yeah.
Your younger self is a part of you. You're part of the younger self. It's all Kenji. We just talk about the different parts to make it convenient. Otherwise, during the whole session, I'd be saying, Kenji, what do you think? Kenji, what do you think? Kenji, talk to Kenji. Kenji, talk to Kenji. It's easier if we have the names.
It's a lot easier.
But it's all you. Always remember that. All these parts we're talking to, they're not separate from you. They are part of you.
Mm.
Kind of like, well, I'm a husband to my wife. I'm a son to my parents. I'm a brother to my sister. I'm a friend to my friend. I'm a hypnotherapist to my clients. I'm a client to my hypnotherapist. Soon I will be a student in a boxing class. So I've got many different roles that I play. And that was not a joke. I'm actually going to be taking a boxing class.
I completely believe you.
Yeah. And then the next step after that is to take a mixed martial arts class, but that's after the boxing class. And so, now you might be thinking, well, why would you need that if you were already so skilled that you were being offered the role of James Bond? Well, that's another story. So are you ready?
Ready.
I'm going to count from 5 to 1. With each number counted, just allow yourself to let your mind drift. And we're going to take a little journey back to the past, speak to your younger self, and see what your younger self has to say. But before you do that, or before we do that, I'm going to get a little water for myself. And just pause and breathe. As I count down from 5 to 1, just allow yourself to drift back, back, back to whatever age happens to pop up. You don't have to consciously try to go to a certain age. Just allow yourself to drift. And upon the number 1, just let the young boy speak. Here we go. 5, drifting back. 4, even more. 3, drifting further. 2, almost there. 1. Let the boy emerge. What may I call you?
14-year-old me. Yeah.
What was 14-year-old me's name?
Kenji.
Kenji. Could I just say young Kenji?
Sure.
Because I don't want to say 14-year-old me the whole time. So young Kenji. Just pause right there, because I'm going to introduce you to somebody in a moment, all right? I'm going to introduce you to an older, more mature, wiser version of yourself. The version of yourself that has made so many changes, has helped so many people, and has done some really wonderful things in the world. You're going to have a chance to meet him. And when you do, just say hello. Are you ready?
Ready.
Adult Kenji,